Hi, everyone. Carmine Denisco here, UIA TV. We got another awesome show. I could say it's an awesome show because I'm going to be on here along with the rest of the guests. We got a great lineup. We're switching it up a little bit. I was supposed to be on next week, but today, show 4 of 5 at the Youth Innovation Show. And I'm going to bring on my co-host, Miss Juli Shively. Juli, what's happening?
Hey, Carmine, lots is happening since the last time you asked me that question.
Really?
Actually,
I always ask you, and you always go, what? What are you talking about?
No. A lot's happened. Every week it's different, but just the connections that come out of the woodwork that are in the innovation space are fantastic. We're looking forward to a new initiative that we're working on for November with a group of other people just starting out, but it's going to celebrate innovators across the world. And it's going to be similar to the GIFT program or the Global Innovation Field Trip in that it's going to be a long 24-hour celebration of kid entrepreneurs or kidpreneurs, as they call it. I haven't learned how to spell that yet, but given it took me about a year to learn to spell entrepreneur, kidpreneur is a little different. So really excited about that new relationship that we're forging ahead on. And I think that inventfuture.global is going to have a part in that too, right, Jake? Oh, you're muted. Maybe not. He's muted.
Jake said, "I'm."
Oh, yeah. Yes. All this new technology, I get befuddled. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So that's good news, and the series has been great so far. We're excited to talk to you today, Carmine. You've kind of been the host for the last several weeks, and now to pick your brain and let the students ask you questions, and I think it's just a great opportunity for them.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared because I love being behind the questions and putting everybody else on the hot seat. And then as questions come in, I don't know what's going to be happening. But real going back to what you were just talking about, is that going to be invention related or any kind of business related for kids?
I think it's as far as I know right now, it's going to be any type of entrepreneurship by students. So, the group is just developing now, and there are partners across the U.S. and across the world that are getting together. I think next week might be the first meeting of that program. So I will we'll let you know and get you a seat at that table if you'd like to be there as well.
That's great. I would love to take a look at that. It sounds like a lot of fun.
And then I just wanted to remind you that the students who are participating with us today are 2 of the top 10 innovators from the U.S. National Innovator Challenge. And hopefully both students are going to go on to the Global Innovation Challenge, which is coming up here. The challenge is September 25th, and the recognition and awards are October 2nd. And we're looking forward to, hopefully they're both planning to represent the U.S. at that challenge. But I hate to put them on the spot, talk about that. But they are fantastic students who have done a lot of different things. Right before you open the show, in fact, Jonathan was saying that he was at school right now, but this is he's in an internship, which allowed him to come on during school hours. And so I was just curious, Jonathan, if you'd be willing to share with us what kind of internship you're doing right now.
Yes, ma'am. So for this internship, really just any help that our school secretary needs, whether it's with technology or anything else, I help with that. So just anything of that nature.
Oh, so you're a technology expert, are you?
I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I've been around it all my life. So any way I can help people, I try and lend a hand.
Jake, we need to recruit him for the opening of the gift programs.
Recruit him, not recruit him. I'm going to kidnap him.
Yes, you might not have noticed that our gift programs are always opened by Jake and I, and they can be a little rough and tumbly sometimes. But thankfully I'm the editor, so I get to fix it all and make it look like we had a smooth transition in. But if you're ever looking for an opportunity to help old people with new technology, just send me a note. We'll put you on the.
He does that every day.
Team. What was that?
He's doing that every day.
Yeah, but he could do it for a global program. That would be even so much more exciting.
That is true. No doubt about it. Very cool. Hey, Julie, real quick, for the program you're talking about, am I involved in that? The UIA involved in that at all?
Which program?
The global programs coming up in September.
The kidpreneur?
No, the
Oh, no. That's the inventfuture.global program. We'd
Oh.
love for you to be involved. If you would like to be involved, you're not currently because you're not a judge. Well, we haven't taken signups yet for judges, but you're welcome to come judge, or you're welcome to help us find some industry experts to do something similar to what we're doing here today, but for
Yeah.
global students.
all right, yeah. Let me
Yeah,
know, and then
absolutely.
I'll find somebody to do all the work. Usually, I just volunteer and then find somebody else to do it all.
I see Lex is going to drop off real quickly. She must have a bad connection.
She's running right now.
Poor girl. So I was curious. So Jonathan, what things do you do outside of school and outside of spending time inventing and outside of your internship?
Yes, so I'm in my senior year, and so right now I'm really just focusing on college applications, but I'm also on my school's varsity football team, so that takes up a good amount of time. But I do spend a lot of my time just like thinking about just trying to need find for different like situations in the world and how different products could possibly innovate and solve those problems. But I'd say football, like outside of school and inventing, I'd say that football would probably be my main time commitment. And then, oh, I also play the kazoo, since like I was told I need to play a musical instrument, and I can't play like a traditional instrument because I'm not a musical person, but I do play the kazoo. So
Wow, darn. All right. So next time you come back, we expect a little bitty mini concert from you, a kazoo concert. That would be great. So
yeah.
what are you thinking about taking in college? Do you know yet what your major is going to be?
Yes, I've been looking, and there's a couple of different programs across the country. Right now, my top one, the University of Pennsylvania, they have the management and technology program. And so you take a course or a major in a STEM discipline like engineering or computer science, but then you also get an undergraduate degree from Wharton, and they have an entrepreneurship track. So that's definitely like the most intriguing one that I plan on hopefully, if I'm admitted, that I could possibly go into.
Wow, that sounds great. You have a lot on your plate and you're just adding more, it sounds like to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So Casey, tell us what you do in your spare time.
Okay, well, if you're gonna say literally, I just like walk around looking for problems to fix.
That's
Okay,
a great thing to do.
An example, a mosquito came by. I want to make a machine that's gonna swat them in 1 second without like having to do anything else.
What about something that just sucks them up, sucks them and traps them into something?
Yeah.
They're
same for
awful
everything.
lightweight. You think it wouldn't take too much. And you know the advantage to that, Casey? In the meantime, when it doesn't have any mosquitoes to eat, it'd be pulling dust out of the air in my house. I would buy that. I
Yeah,
would definitely buy that.
that would be cool.
Dust/mosquito sucker.
Yes.
So you got people around your school excited about inventing because of what you've done, Casey?
Well, I haven't really told them about it much yet, but I guess so.
You haven't told them. You won a national contest. You've been on YouTube TV series now multiple times. You're getting ready to go to a global challenge. There's not a galactic one yet, so you might want to tell them soon. There's not far to go up from there.
Actually, Julie, Casey, this is something actually we had a conversation about this yesterday, Julie and I and some other people. And one of the problems we have is that young people like yourself seem to have a very hesitancy about blowing their own horn and promoting themselves. You know, it's not bragging if it's true. And one of the problems we have is that people will be on gift and they don't tell anybody about it, or they've won an award and they don't tell anybody. And so my question to both of you is, how can we get students to promote what they're doing more?
Well, actually, I'd say like some people in my school do know about it, though like it's in this announcement thingy. So like the ones who do read the announcement actually know it, but I wouldn't say everybody does.
But the Kardashians, when they when they roll over in their sleep, it becomes the headlines in the newspapers. You know, but how do we get people like you to get more of a spotlight on you? What do you think, Jonathan? Casey?
Well, I'm thinking about it. I just think that it may be just we don't want to appear as like boastful to like people around us because that might cut off connections in the future. And it shouldn't be that way, but it's just the perception of people who are like viewing or like say we like talk about it and it's just like people in passing like hear about it and think, oh, he's bragging or something. Like that's a very real concern. And I'm not exactly sure how to address it.
But Jonathan, if you score a touchdown, I guarantee you every single teacher and every single student in the school will know that.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you participate in a global program and do very well,
Mhm.
isn't that better than scoring a touchdown?
100%. So at that point, it's just getting more people interested in it then.
Well, you have an assignment, both of you. Come up with a solution because we weren't sure what to do.
I think one of the ways to solve that problem is to put more students like you in the face of it all, to put you up front and to highlight you and spotlight you. And I think that will attract more students' interest than anything. I mean, Jake and I do a lot of different things and are part of lots of different initiatives for youth innovation, but nobody really wants to come see Jake and I as much as they want to come see you and Casey and all of your contemporaries to see what you're doing. How the heck did you figure that out? Where did you learn that? Where do you get your ideas? I mean, so putting you guys up front is really what's going to make it happen. So as much as you can engage and help bring others along with you, that's what I think that's what it will take to get the general interest to head that direction. So.
Yeah.
So Carmine, tell us, since you are the special guest today, and I've kind of just stole your show for a couple of minutes, but I really wanted to focus on the students that were here because they made the effort to come and they've been here more than once, and I appreciate that. I want to know, or they probably want to know a little bit more about you, how you got into this industry to start with, maybe what you did before it that drove you here. And then kind of what you've done since, because you weren't always the president of United Inventors Association.
No, I still can't get over the whole kazoo thing, but I'm going to try. I never met anyone that played the kazoo, so now I can't use that line anymore. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I've talked about this in several presentations. Always been an entrepreneur. When I was younger, I used to take things apart a lot. I could not get the products or items back together. Took TVs apart, cars, hair dryers, anything I could get my hands on, and would always want to find out how things worked, try to make them work better. As I got older, graduated to bigger and better things, and then finally got into inventing my own products. I was doing consulting work. I was actually in the computer business in the 90s. Through the computer boom, and lucky enough to sell my company and then move on to see, what I wanted to do when I grew up. So the invention business, I've always liked making things kind of like these guys that are students that are on the call now. And my first invention was one for remote control airplanes. I was really into remote control airplanes, but the really big ones, that when they crashed, you would see grown men cry. And I invented a couple of products to help in that industry. Had one of them, and I hate to say this, but had one of them stolen by a company that I brought it to help me with it. After that, it got me to the point where, I wanted to do those myself. Moved down to the Florida area, met the gentleman that started HSN, Mr. Bob Costa. He sold the first can opener on the radio, an olive green can opener. He was the first. That's where HSN started. If anyone knows Home Shopping Network, it used to be called. Started on the radio in Clearwater, Florida. Met Bob and we did some work together. And at one point, a lot of the products that were going to HSN, have to be finished, ready for sale. But I wanted to help the people that weren't ready for sale, and got into helping people get their products designed, developed, manufactured, and then get them ready to sell on retail. And kind of moved into this business. I've been doing it for over 20 years. I've taken thousands of products to market for other clients. I have a few inventions myself, current patent holder, trademark holder, and have licensed some products also. But a lot of products that I design just never seem to make it for some reason. I don't know if it's like the auto mechanic whose car doesn't run the best, but I always seem to do better helping other people take their products to market. Started a podcast on helping people take their products to market, giving out the information that I had learned over the years, grew from there. Jumped on, was asked to be a part of the United Inventors Association board, was a board member for a few years, and then just recently was elected president of the UIA. And from there, we're trying to really make it bigger, better, faster. So that's my I guess life in a nutshell.
And Carmine, so none of that had anything to do with youth innovation. So somewhere along the line, you've decided, or United Inventors Association decided, that they wanted to start looking at the youth population and the inventing or innovations that they brought forward. So can you tell us a little bit about yours or UIA's ambitions with youth?
Yeah, so it's kind of both. Even as I was growing my businesses and helping inventors, and what I did notice the trend was older gentlemen were mostly inventors. There are women inventors, awesome, smart, but not too many young people. They are inventors, but they weren't being noticed, as we talked about here, in a sense. And one of the things I really started trying to bring into the spotlight through my podcast and other forms of media was really bringing the younger generations, the people that really were trying to help the world do good, and had great ideas, bring them to the spotlight. And it was so cool that I met up with you, Juli, because you were already doing what I was trying to do, and it was great that we kind of joined up. And then when I became president of the UIA, it just gives me, and I hate to say it in a sense, it just gives me that power to not only spread the word throughout my community, but throughout the world. And it's really been helping out. And I love helping out young adults, young children that have these dreams of taking a product that they just thought of in their kitchen, to help their parents out, something really fun. And just to see their eyes light up when you make that product a reality for them or give them some feedback. There's really no other feeling like that in the world. It's great.
Yeah, and I think we might have met maybe in 2016 or 17. I was down at the time I was working for the National Invention Convention, and was down in Florida at their convention, and you were podcasting students at the Florida Invention Convention. And we hadn't done the Ohio Invention Convention for that summer yet. And Florida's was rather small, but that's because it was a brand new program, I think, that year. So it wasn't going to be as big as Ohio's. And we had about 450 contestants in Ohio. And I said, hey, what do you think about coming up and flying up to Ohio and doing podcasts with these kids? I said, there's like 450 of them. And I'm sorry, I don't have any money. I can't put you up in a hotel. I can't fly you up there, but could you come do it? And you're like, yeah. And you did. It was just absolutely amazing that you did. And I don't think you believed me that we would have, it was 450 prototypes. So that was a lot more kids than that. And there was probably about 2,200 people in that building that day, with all the spectators and the public and the parents and the grandparents and the teachers there. It was a big event, and we really appreciated your help with that. And when you talked about how you really hadn't been in that part of the kids side of it until we met and started working together, it's the same for us. I mean, all of these years, my 18 years at the Ohio Invention Convention, the kids would invent. Back then, there wasn't yet a national program, but even when there was a national program, they would get to that program, they wouldn't, they say, okay, what's next? And we never had an answer for them. I mean, we weren't in a position to tell them what was next. That's not what we did. We don't know anything about manufacturing. We don't know anything about patenting, or, we're not going to give advice about patenting. We don't know anything about whether it's better to license or to manufacture stuff. So meeting up with you brought it all together for us too. So it's a great combination, and I really appreciate it. I'm happy that we have met and that we're working on these initiatives together, and we'll keep doing so.
I appreciate it. And I got to tell you, I was blown away when you told me about the crowds. that building was full. I was so proud of what you guys were doing. And I just walked around there in awe, not only at the crowds, but at the products, the inventions, the ideas that were there. I mean, there were some awesome ideas there, fully developed. Some were ideas, some were not, but the presentations, the kids really knew what they were doing. And I think that was one of the things that really put it together for me that, this is something that can catch on. And, since then, I've been talking to heads of a lot of companies, R&D, things in that sense, and really putting them on to looking to the youth sector as a way to get products for the future. I mean, it was amazing that day in Ohio. It really was.
Yeah. I want to let the kids ask some questions. Before we do that, I have one more thing I want you to explain for us. Behind your head, there are two logos. One is the United Inventors Association logo, and the other, it looks like a gold seal from here. And I want to explain to people how that differentiates United Inventors Association from other organizations out there, or differentiates the members of that program that's in that seal from other places, other organizations around the world.
Yeah. So from being on the United Inventors Association, being in the board, I noticed that there's disparity throughout the regions, throughout inventors, through the whole system itself. A lot of inventors and inventor groups, we've all been brought up that when we have this idea, we can't tell anybody about it. We shouldn't talk about it. And, a lot of times fear or worry stops products and ideas from moving forward. Well, the same thing happens within invention groups or clubs. There's many, many clubs scattered throughout the United States and the world, obviously, actually. And one of the first things I would like to do, and what I noticed, was to try to bring those groups together so that we can not only share knowledge and resources, but work together. Because again, the numbers, when you have numbers, people stand up and take notice. So one of the first things that we did, and Lex is on the call too, and Julie and Jake, you guys were really, just doing what you do brings notice to our, task of what we have to do. So we contacted some of the larger groups throughout the United States, and we put together what we call the CIO, or the Certified Inventors Organization. And what that is a conglomerate of inventor groups that are currently out. They don't have to be in the US. It just so happens we started with the US because it was easier for us to communicate. And we all are working towards one goal. And that goal is really to help inventors move through the process, move a product to the next step. And a lot of products don't have to go to retail. Some people just want to take their product, get a prototype or whatever it is. But being able to share knowledge and resources now, not just within a small group of people, it's very, very important, because each group did something well. And because they weren't communicating with a group in South Carolina or California, that group didn't know. So maybe you had an investor or somebody who was looking for golf products, and you said, well, we have 15 members and none of them have a golf product. But now somebody looking for a golf product can connect with all of these other hundreds of thousands of inventors throughout the country and be able to spread that knowledge and experience and utilize those resources. So again, it was a huge, not only achievement, but it was a large undertaking. And we're still always, obviously, when you're bringing a whole bunch of people together, tweaking the process. But so far, it's going very well.
Good. Thanks for that. So let's open the floor up to Jonathan and Casey, and some questions they might have while we have such a great industry expert on the line.
So with you being the president of the UIA, I imagine that you have like a ton of connections with like the leads of different industries and stuff. And I was wondering, what's like the general, like in general, the industry's view of youth inventors and the inventions they come up with? Like, do they respect the inventions that we have and they want to hear about them? Or is it more like they think that we're inexperienced? Or is there anything that we need to take into consideration whenever we approach them?
Yeah, Jonathan, awesome question, and something that, grieves me in a sense. Like most big companies, and it's not just young adults, most big companies that have product development departments, they always believe that they can do something better than others that are external of their company. They could have an R&D department, or they could have a product development department. They could have engineers. So those companies, not in a bad way, but they would always look internally first. So when myself or a young adult or somebody would bring a product, I won't want to say that they would just brush it off, but they would look down on it like, our department could make that or whatever. But some of these companies now are having what's called open innovation, and they're realizing that good ideas come from external places. And they really are, through, again, things like what Julie and Jake are doing, they're really looking to youth, young adults, to come up with those ideas, because in reality, that's where those ideas are going to come from in the future. So in a sense, it still have some work to do. And it's not just youth that they look down on, or in a sense, but it's external. Because, years and years of inventors being looked at as, Einstein. When you think of an inventor, you think of a guy with white hair sitting in a laboratory. And that's the problem that this industry had. And we're working on that, is an inventor can come from all lifestyles, all different places, all different education. So that's what's great about the things that you guys are doing as youth and winning these contests. And as Jake was talking about, bringing that to the forefront. Yes, scoring touchdowns, great. I played football in high school and college. I think it's great. But being able to win a contest that is worldwide, of going up against products, it is so important to let people realize, hey, listen, we need to really start scaling this up and realize what's important. So we have a lot of work to do. It's a great question. I just don't want you to think it's just youth. It's inventors in a group weren't looked down upon. They weren't taken seriously because we were inventors. We were these kooky people. But we're really starting to have people stand up and take notice because of the things that you guys are doing as youth. I think you guys are helping open people's eyes.
Thank you.
Carmine, how does a student become a member of the United Inventors Association?
So the UIA, or the United Inventors Association, our website is uiausa.org. We have a membership form. It is free to join as a member. I ask if you're under 18, just make sure that your parents are okay with joining the UIA. We don't sell your information, and you're not going to share any sensitive data. It's just we want to make sure it's okay for you to join our association. And it's pretty straightforward. You'll get a member number. And as we have events and things happening, you'll not only be able to sign up for them through the UIA website, but you'll get discounts and other items. We're currently revamping, and I think our website will always be under construction, if you want to say. It'll be a living thing. It'll always be being updated. But we're currently doing a lot of work so that we can offer a lot of different experiences, knowledge base, videos, training events, a lot of different things that we can, again, as we just talked about. The UIA was somewhat stagnant as it went through the years because of the way inventors were looked upon. And now that inventors are kind of coming back up into the spotlight with shows like Shark Tank and different other shows, it's really helping us build up the different educational events that help. So yeah, just becoming a UIA member is very simple. Go to the website and click on new member or join and fill out the short form. And Julie, by the way, I think one of the last shows we had several people from the YouTube channel that were watching became members. So I forgot to mention that. So the show the show is driving some membership. It's pretty cool.
You have a program coming up very soon in September, I believe, that the top 10 students will end up having passes to, if they'd like to participate. Can you give us a little info on what? Casey has her hand up though. Let's that's more important. So let her talk, and then when we have time, if you talk about Inspire, that would be great.
Oh yeah, no problem. Go ahead, Casey.
Okay. So what does it mean to be a member of the UIA, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so it's not like some glorious thing, but what it does is allows you to get information, discounts, knowledge, educational events sent to you. It's just kind of a membership. We're trying to track how many members and what they like. So we'll send information and questionnaires from time to time. You'll be the first ones to know about events or the ability to be on a pitch panel or to show off your product to people. Say, we get a couple people that are sharks or somebody from a different show that wants to have a pitch panel. Like right now we have the hardware show coming up and also Inspire event coming up. And we're looking for people to pitch products on those shows to area experts, retail buyers, experts, TV show hosts and things in that sense. So being a member, you kind of get inside information in a sense where you'll know about things before the public does, giving you the ability to sign up for those events or view it before they do. I can tell you that when we have a pitch panel for certain types of products, the panels fill up really quickly. So it's nice to know about that prior, especially if you want to pitch your new product or your idea to someone who could really, I don't want to say it, change your life, take over your product or sell it or license it, or just give you feedback to keep you going in the right direction. So being a member, there's a lot of benefits to it, and we're making it even better as we build the website out.
Yeah. Casey, if I can just jump in for a second. There's a poem, and I'm going to misquote it, but essentially it says, if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. And that was written by a poet, not an inventor. It's not true. The world won't beat a path to your door just because your mousetrap is better. You have to make the connections with people. And that's one of the things that you get in an association like this. You get connections with other people, and that's how you get your thing well known. That's how you get the support. And then the world will beat a path to your door. But it's all the connections with other people. And that's what the organization provides.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thanks.
I think it was
I think
Hawthorne.
that is United Inventors Association. I've heard before they are the largest invention membership club, if you want to call that, in the world. So
Yeah, that's correct.
So there's nowhere where you can find a larger network of people than that, and where there's a network, there are resources. So
Yeah, I would say for the invention industry, it's 100%, as Jake was mentioning, our board members are top industry professionals that, there's probably no one on that board that is more well-known in the invention and product development industry. Their access to people, as Jake mentioned, is second to none. So that's one of the great things about it. Being able to be a member, having access is so important. I didn't even think of that, Jake. I should have. You're exactly right. A lot of times when I am working with clients, I don't mention this to the clients because I don't want to get their hopes up in a sense, because we never know what a retail buyer or what somebody looking at a product is going to say or what they think. But as I'm speaking with them, I'm automatically thinking, right, Jake, okay, who can I hook this person up with? Who can I put them in touch with? Where should this product be sold in the stores? And it's so much fun having that access. Again, not really telling the client or the person I'm speaking with until I can make those connections. But because you have the ability to do that, it really helps. It really does.
So this is sort of shifting gears a bit, but so whenever you were younger, you talked about how you were in the RC plane space and you developed something and it was stolen by a company. So what did you learn from that, and how do you protect your ideas before going to companies with them?
So what I learned was it was my fault. Okay. I'm not a person who really blames things on anyone else. And this was before the internet was really taking shape. The 90s, we didn't even think the internet was going to stick around, right? As we didn't know, most people didn't know what that was. But when I developed this product, it was out of a need. I knew that there was a viability. I knew people would purchase it. But the problem is that I was busy. So I went to this person and that had supposedly the ability to help me with it. And I left it with them, and I went on my life and did work, and I had clients and customers and did things. And then, would check in with this person day to day, and not day to day, every few weeks or whenever it was. And then one day I saw the product in an RC magazine, and I was just astounded by it. Luckily it wasn't a big hit, or I probably would have been really mad at myself. So doing that, and it was my fault, because I didn't ask for the right paperwork. I didn't really talk to them about it. I was one of these people that was just, trusting, hey, listen, can you help me with this? These days, there's a lot of different ways to protect you and your product. What I will say is, doing this so much, is that when you have a successful product, someone is going to copy you. And the reason I say that is because that's what competition is. Now, if we didn't have competition, it would be a really frightful world out there, because people would be able to charge whatever they wanted. There would only be one kind of bicycle, one kind of car, one kind of everything. So the way to really protect yourself and your product is through doing a great job, knowing who your customers are, and through price protection. Now, you're going to get patents, you're going to get intellectual property. But again, the United States Patent and Trademark Office, or wherever you get a patent from, they aren't the patent police. So they will give you that information. They will say, yeah, you have a patent, but it's up to you to protect that patent. Now, if you have a patent and someone starts copying you, it is very, very expensive to try to fight them in that sense, fight them in court. So again, the trick is to know that someone's going to copy you. Through innovation, stay ahead of those copycats with your idea and your product. And always make sure that you're doing a good job with quality. You hear it all the time, build your brand, build your tribe. Just like Apple, Apple phone. If I switch to Samsung, Apple's not going to be mad, because they know that several people are switching from Samsung to Apple that same day. So the trick is to just worry about you, your product, and do a good job on your product. Do a good job on the delivery. Make sure it's quality. And don't worry and don't be fearful. Fear has stopped so many products from coming to market, that with my clients and what I talk to is, just build your product like someone is going to copy you. It'll make you do a better job. And here's the other part. Most likely, the person that you think is going to copy you isn't going to be as passionate about that product as you. So once they see that it's actual work to make that product, they probably won't do it. So, yes, products get copied, but the trick is to be ready for it and still go on with your life and not worry too much. So there's ways to stop copycats. And it's one of the things that I like about the invention world, because you could drop strategy into your product idea and really stop those copycats in their tracks with a good strategy. So hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, and Jonathan, think about this. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have a product that lots of people are copying, or would you rather have a product that nobody is copying?
Well, I mean, if people are copying it, that means that it's working.
That's right. That's exactly right. That is validation. That is validation that you're doing something right. The market is there. The saying is, when you develop a new product, the first person you train will be your competitor.
Right.
That's good, Jay. That's good. It's true. Yeah. And the other thing is, I want you guys to know, it's great to be first to market. It's in some products, being first to market, sometimes the only one to market. But being first to market is very expensive, and it's very tough to convince someone that they have a problem, and not only that, but that you have the fix to that problem. Being second to market, you're able to see what that first person ran into, what they were up against, and maybe some of the missteps that they incurred. So when you come behind somebody and you create, their product is square, yours is round, you believe that your product does a better job, but you get to see what those issues that they ran into were. Many people that create a product for Amazon, if there's something like their product on Amazon, all they do is go and they read the reviews, and they read the negative reviews, and they make sure that their product posts against those, make sure their product is made for those negative reviews, because anybody can make a product that works, But to be able to kill those negative reviews with your product, being second sometimes really helps out.
Yeah. And Jonathan, just tell you a quick story. I had developed a product once, and it was brand new and nobody knew what it was. And I spent most of my time trying to explain to people what this thing was. And then a very large company came out with a very similar product, but they were a huge company and they had enormous budget for advertising.
Right.
And so all I had to say to people was, you know about this other thing? Well, here's why mine's better. And so before I had 100% of an apple, and after they came in, I had 10% of a watermelon.
Right.
And trust me, the watermelon was bigger.
Right. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Excellent point.
And then in terms of, say, like you want to license a product and you go to a company and you're still like in your first prototyping stages, and you don't think you're going to get it out to market in time just because they have many more resources. But how do you protect that idea if you and the company decide that you're not going to collaborate, but you don't want them to take that idea from you and go ahead and develop it themselves?
Yeah. So the good part is you're living in the age of the internet, and most companies are very, very leery about not only bad reviews, but bad press and things in that sense.
Right.
So it doesn't happen as much as we hear about. It's just like we hear, people always like to talk about the bad things, never the good things. Very, very seldom a company will steal an idea. I mean, one, because you're going to have so much literature and documentation. And if you go after them, they're really going to look bad in the news. Now, there are companies that are not inventor friendly. And most likely, if you go to their website and they don't have a little button that says, submit your product or tell us about your product, they're not open. They're not open innovation friendly, which is okay. So they'll tell you basically, do not send us your product. And there are some that you may send them, and they have this form that's basically you're turning your idea over to them. So if there's some kind of form that they want you to sign, make sure you read it and take a look at it. Because
Yes,
I
sir.
have seen some companies that basically are saying, if you submit this idea to us, it's ours.
Right.
So they're telling you the truth. Here you go. So, again, it's that fear type thing that you just want to make sure who you become friends with, who you show your product to, and just again, make sure that that you have your ducks in a row. A lot of times, if you have a patent or you have a provisional patent, you may want to ask for a non-disclosure agreement, but you don't really have to because you have a patent in place. Now, it's good to have the non-disclosure agreement in case you go for investment money. That investor might say, hey, who have you told about this? You'd say, well, I've told these 3 people. Here's the NDAs.
Right.
But it all depends. The more paperwork you can, but you don't want to scare that potential licensee away by asking for too much.
Right.
So it's that fine line that you draw. But again, most companies, they will not steal your idea. And if they really don't want to see your idea, they'll tell you straight out. And again, there's always 1 or 2. If you're careful, you'll usually weed them out pretty quick.
Right. Yes, sir.
And Jonathan, if they don't want to see your idea, it's not because they think it's a bad idea. It's just the opposite. They're afraid it's a good idea, and they don't want to be accused then of later stealing your idea. Because if you're in a certain industry, they've got people working on stuff. And so I know somebody who's the head of R&D for a medium-sized company in a particular industry, and he regularly gets packages and letters from inventors with, oh, here's the new thing, it'll fit right in with your product line. And he has a secretary whose job is to send everything back unopened. And she has a form letter. Thank you very much. Please don't send us to us again.
Right.
Because they're afraid that he'll open it up and it's something they're already thinking about. And now he's got a potential lawsuit on his hand.
Right.
Yeah, it happens. And we talk about this, right, Jake? We've talked about this. Somewhere in the world, most likely, someone is working on an idea close to an idea that you have.
Yeah.
It's very, very seldom that I've ever seen that there's only one person in the world working on the same idea. It could be similar, different designs, but if you're experiencing an issue or problem that you're trying to solve, most likely someone is working on it and experiencing the same problem.
Right.
And when you look at you're absolutely right, Carmine. When you look at inventions in the past, like the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. there were 100 other people at the same time working on the telephone. Okay. The same thing with the light bulb in Edison. You can go back. There's 100 people doing that. So, you know.
100%. I think what Jake, the telephone patent was put in, and like an hour or two later, the second one.
Well, yes, and it was very interesting. Bell's father-in-law was a patent attorney, and and Elijah Gray was supposed to have done it before, but his father-in-law somehow managed to get somebody in the patent office to put an earlier admission stamp on it. That's the story I've heard. I wasn't there.
I think I could see that happening. Back then, no way to track it.
And then I guess that it all goes back to having the right connections then.
Yes. Right father-in-law. Casey, don't be polite.
Yeah, so like you said earlier, you said it's better to share out all the success and things about like inventing. But like at the same time, if you're gonna share all your ideas to other people, isn't it just a time to get them like back at you and try to steal everything? I mean, even though stealing an idea can be a good thing, what if you're still working on some part of it and trying to improve it, but at the same time they're trying to get back at you? So then like they could just take over, right?
Okay, Casey, but you participated in a global event that was broadcast all over the world. What you had done, what you have said is now on the internet. Everyone has seen it. So if you're worried about somebody stealing that thought, it's already too late. It's gone around the world. But what I was talking about was getting recognition for what you have done. So do the people across the street know what you've done?
Probably not.
Yeah, you see, does your grandmother know what you've done?
I think so.
You think so? See, that's exactly the problem. Your grandmother should be so proud of you. You don't understand, Casey. I am proud of you, and I'm not even your grandmother, but I'm just proud to know you and to know people like you and Jonathan. You have no idea how excited that makes elderly people like Carmine and Juli and myself.
It's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree though, Jake. There's just not enough recognition. And I think mostly because of the way us inventors, myself, treat inventions, we're fearful of really putting it out there. And it's something that we should all try to overcome. I don't think we talk about what those inventions and the things that we're doing. We don't talk about it enough externally of the people we know.
I get why you should put it out there, but I guess there is a reason why people normally don't do it, which is why they don't have enough like sharing out.
And it's also, we're not saying that you want a Nobel Prize. We're not saying you're the most intelligent, best inventor in the entire world, but you're very young and you have done something that 99.9% of the people your age have never done and will never do. And to me, that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Plus, it's something cool. I've seen it. It's very cool. Hey, Carmine, before we, I know that we're getting close to an hour here before long, so I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the Inspire program and really very specifically the pitch panels that are out there. If any of these young innovators want to get involved in that, I know there are 5 different pitch panels and I've got them in front of me if you don't know what they are.
Yeah. So if you wanted to rattle off the pitch panels, you can.
Well, why don't you tell them what the Inspire event is, and then I will do that as soon as you tell me to.
Yeah, and then I can always send a link out to you if you wanted to share it with anybody. So yeah, so in on September 15th, 17th, and 18th, the United Inventors Association is putting on an event called Inspire 2021. It's sponsored by Market Blast, and we have over 60 of the, I want to say the world's top people in not only the invention industry, but we have like the Eastern Regional Outreach Director for USPTO. We have Andre Yanku, who was the former director of the U.S. Patent Trademark Office. He was just replaced in January. So we have people that are not only in the patent side, but also on the design, program management. We have Josh Malone, who's the inventor of a bunch of balloons. I don't know if you guys know what it is. Obviously, Warren Tuttle, who's the ex-president of the United Inventors Association. We have just the top people in the inventor industry. Plus, we have many people from the clubs, the inventor clubs, many inventors that are successful. We'll be talking Shark Tank people. It's just the list goes on and on for this inventor series. Not only will we be talking about different things, we'll have pitch panels, as Julie mentioned, but you'll also go into breakout rooms and be able to speak. If you have a question with some of these speakers, talk to them, ask them questions. So it's going to be a pretty crazy event. I myself would have rather had it be a smaller event. It's a little bit easier to manage, but we just ended up, as we were progressing, more and more people were volunteering to speak. So it was hard to really turn them down. So yeah, the event is going to be awesome. 100%, Julie. I want you to be able to invite all of the top winners. It's a $60 or $70 for the 3-day event. We're going to give you some passes to give out so people can join whenever they want. It would be awesome to have them.
Yeah. And in fact, I have those passes already. So I'll be shooting an email out to all the top 10 innovators to invite them. Now, we recognize that 2 of those days are could be during school days. So you'll be able to pick and choose from the speakers for after school, or there's also, it runs through Saturday. So you'll have a good chunk of a Saturday that you can also take a look at the different presentations. So don't feel like you have to go all 3 days for everything, because we know you can't. You'll be in school. And they're probably not going to be that forgiving to let you off for 2 full school days to watch, but you watch what you can because you'll get what you can out of it. But the pitch panels, they do have some openings on some of the pitch panels. So there's a Chicago Toy and Game pitch panel. There's, I think it's DirecTV, DRTV. Is that DirecTV panel?
DirecTV.
Not exactly sure what that means. If you were going to sit on that panel, what kind of product would you have, Carmine, if it's a DirecTV panel?
So DRTV are things like, and wait, there's more, things that sell really massively on TV. You guys have all seen it, Pocket Fisherman and crazy products that are out
Bronco.
there. Yeah. Those infomercial type products. So that's
Okay.
what DRTV is.
And then there's the International Hardware Show panel, the National Hardware Show panel, and then the PGA Golf Show panel. So those are the different panels that somebody could become a part of, or just watch if you want it. That would be just cool to watch them too. So
yeah, no doubt. It will be fun to watch. And again, because we're going to have, everyone who's anybody on this particular one, just jump on. If you have some questions too, you'll be able to send them in or ask it. So if you have some specific questions or just want to meet somebody specific that you think can help move your idea or product forward, don't hesitate to ask.
yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Any last questions before we wrap up?
I would just like to say that I thank you very much for inviting me. It has been many decades since I've been last on a panel with the word youth in it. It's probably been 30 years, okay, 50 years, maybe 60 years. But I'm very happy to be in a panel with the word youth in it. So thank you.
No doubt. Me too. I'm right with you, Jake. All right. Very good. We I guess we'll close up, Julie. Is that?
Yeah. So next week, next Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, we have Chris Guerrera. And I look forward to meeting him in sort of person for the first time. I've seen him on all sorts of different social medias, but haven't ever heard his voice out loud in the same room as me. So
Yeah.
that'll be good. I'm sure he has a lot to share with us. So I'm excited about that. And I hope all our top 10 innovators can be present to learn from Chris next week.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and just coming hot off that Shark Tank win. He's selling a lot of product. He's got some great stories from that show, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Good. Very good. Thank you, Carmine. And thanks for guesting as well as hosting today.
Oh, no, a lot of fun. Love it. Thank you, everyone. Great questions. And for all you out there listening in, we will catch you next Thursday at 3 o'clock for the 5th and final show.